So a couple years back, there was this guy on YouTube who was absolutely everywhere. Every time you opened the app, there he was. Millions of views, millions of subscribers, and millions of people asking the same question. How did this guy blow up so fast? And now, if you search his name, the comments tell a completely different story. People calling him lazy, people saying he never had real talent, and an audience that has almost entirely moved on. That guy is Beluga, and this is the full story of how someone who was genuinely one of the fastest growing YouTubers of all time ended up with basically nothing to show for it. But before we even get into Beluga, we need to talk about who this person actually was before any of this happened. Because most people who watched his Discord videos had absolutely no idea that the guy behind the channel had already built and abandoned a completely different audience before he ever made a single skit. His real name is Braden Boyko. And before he became the king of fake Discord conversations, Braden was running a channel called Explore Lucid Dreaming. And yeah, it was exactly what it sounds like. He was teaching people how to control their dreams.
So, you want to control your dreams. Maybe you've done it before, and you know how awesome it is to go to bed and enter a stunning, vivid world where you can do anything you want. Or maybe you're completely new to lucid dreaming and don't know where the heck to start. Well, you're in the right place. So, how do you do it? Step 1. You need a notebook, or a piece of paper, or something you can write on.
Now, I know that sounds like the kind of niche topic that gets maybe a few thousand subscribers if you are lucky, but Braden somehow turned it into something real. That channel built somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million subscribers. And the community around it was not just big, it was genuinely tight-knit and loyal in a way that most creators would kill for. These were people who had watched his videos, followed his instructions, failed, tried again, and eventually actually managed to lucid dream because of him. They were emotionally invested in this man and his content. And then one day, with zero warning and zero explanation, Braden just stopped uploading. No goodbye video, no final post, no community update saying he needed a break or was moving on. He just disappeared. And the comments he left behind on that channel are honestly kind of painful to read. People writing things like they watched his videos for years, finally had their first lucid dream because of him, and now just wanted to know where he went. Others saying he motivated them more than they could explain and they hoped he would come back. One person even said they had managed to have 7 lucid dreams because of his channel and were begging him not to quit. That is the kind of audience most creators spend their entire careers trying to build. And Braden just walked away from it without looking back. What came next was Beluga, a brand new channel, a completely different concept, and a format that nobody could have predicted would work the way it did. The content looks simple on the surface. Fake Discord chats between fictional users, absurd conversations, wild plot twists, characters with bizarre names like Hecker, Skittle, and Lester, thrown into the middle of some ridiculous fake crisis. But the execution was anything but simple. Braden had clearly studied what made YouTube videos perform. The editing was razor sharp. Snappy cuts, zoom-ins, pop-ups, all timed to absolute perfection. The titles were engineered to grab your attention instantly. Things like, when you join a Discord server at 3 a.m., or he hacked my account while I was sleeping. They sounded like clickbait, but the way he delivered them made people stay. The thumbnails were minimalistic, just enough to make you curious without giving too much away. And the videos themselves were short, most of them between just 2 and 4 minutes, which made them absolutely perfect for binge watching. You could knock out 10 Beluga videos in under 30 minutes, and each one ended in a way that made you want to immediately start the next. It was like digital potato chips. One turns into 20 before you even realize what happened. And the numbers that came from this format were genuinely hard to believe. His first few uploads took off instantly. He was posting weekly, sometimes even daily, and almost every single video was pulling 10 million views or more. Within just 4 months of starting the Beluga channel, Braden had gained over 4 million subscribers. 4 million in 4 months. That kind of growth is almost unheard of even by YouTube standards. And people who study the platform were openly saying so. Every video he posted was landing on the trending page. His Discord server was flooded with fans. People were quoting Hecker and Skittle like they were characters from an actual TV show. The algorithm seemed to be doing all the heavy lifting for him. And just when it felt like things could not possibly get bigger, he launched a second channel called Beluga Jr. 5 videos in, it already had 400,000 subscribers, more than most creators will ever accumulate in their entire career. Braden had clearly cracked something. He understood how the algorithm worked better than most people in the game, and for a moment, he looked completely unstoppable. But not everyone was buying it. While Beluga was busy breaking records, creators and fans, especially on Reddit, were already raising eyebrows. And the main issue they were pointing to was a smaller YouTuber named Daylight Gaming. Daylight had been making Discord skit videos long before Beluga ever showed up. And when people started comparing the two channels, the similarities were not subtle. Same titles, same characters, same jokes, same general format. The difference was that while Daylight was pulling a few thousand views, Beluga was raking in millions doing what looked like the exact same thing. One Reddit post from around that time summed it up plainly, pointing out that Beluga had even copied Daylight Gaming videos from the title to the plot directly, and still ended up with millions more views. And this sparked a whole debate about whether Beluga was a genuine creative success story, or just someone who took an existing formula, executed it with better production, and absorbed all the credit while the original creator watched from the sidelines with a fraction of the audience. On top of that, the growth itself started to look suspicious to some people. It was almost too clean. Every video hit the homepage, every upload racked up millions of views. The subscriber count kept jumping by hundreds of thousands like it was nothing. Some viewers started speculating openly about whether he had used bots or artificial boosts to inflate his early numbers. There was no concrete evidence of that, but the fact that the theory gained serious traction says everything about how unreal his rise looked to everyday creators who were grinding for years and barely breaking a few thousand views per upload. So at his peak, Beluga was sitting on top of the world, millions of subscribers, dozens of viral hits, and a channel that looked completely unstoppable. And then something started to shift. And the first sign of it was not a scandal or a controversy or some explosive moment that blew everything up overnight. It was something much quieter and honestly much more telling. He just started posting less. During his rapid rise, Braden was uploading 3 to 4 times a week. Then it slowed down. Then it slowed down again. And before long, the channel that used to push out content almost daily had dropped to about twice a month. And the videos themselves started reflecting the same problem. The ones that used to hit 10 million views overnight were now averaging around 2 million. Still a number that most creators would consider a massive success. But for a channel that had been doing 10 million like clockwork, 2 million was impossible to ignore as a drop-off. And the audience noticed. Comments started appearing that said things like, "Beluga, you have changed. What happened to you?" People who had been subscribed since the beginning were openly saying they were leaving. And the reason they kept giving was always the same thing. The content had stopped evolving. Every video was the same Discord mod banning someone for no reason, the same chaotic setups, the same characters screaming in all caps, the same punchlines recycled across 100 slightly different scenarios. The flashy editing was still there, the pop-ups and sound effects were still there, but the spark was completely gone. And this was not just outside criticism from people who had never liked Beluga. His most loyal fans were saying it. The people who had been there from the first upload were openly admitting they were bored. Beluga had become a victim of his own formula. He built a system that was fast and addictive and perfectly engineered for the algorithm, but it never grew. There was no character development, no world building, no personal connection, no experimentation. Just the same joke told over and over in slightly different packaging until people got tired of it. And the audience being almost entirely made up of very young viewers made this problem dramatically worse. Because if there is one thing you can count on with kids, it is that they move on fast. One minute they are quoting Hecker and Skittle like they are the funniest things on the internet. The next minute they have completely forgotten Beluga exists and moved on to whatever the next thing is. Skibbity toilet edits, Minecraft manhunts, whatever was trending that week. And Beluga did not adapt. He did not try to shift the content toward an older audience. He did not experiment with new formats or try to build something with more depth. He just kept doing the same thing until the numbers told him it was not working anymore. And then he went quiet. But here is where the story gets even more interesting, because going quiet was not the end of it. After the main Beluga channel began to slow down seriously, Braden attempted a comeback, not as Beluga, but as himself. He launched a brand new personal channel under his real name, Braden Boyko, and started uploading again. And this should have been a fascinating pivot, a creator with millions of subscribers attached to his name, dropping the character and showing people who he actually was. That could have worked. But the problem was that nobody could figure out what the channel was actually supposed to be. One video would be a reaction, the next was commentary, then a random skit. There was no clear identity, no consistent direction. Nothing that told a viewer what they were subscribing to or why they should come back. It felt exactly like what it was, someone throwing everything at the wall just to see what might stick. And none of it stuck. The views were low, the comments were confused, and after just a few uploads, Braden vanished again. Exactly like he did with Beluga Jr., exactly like he did with Explore Lucid Dreaming. And then, as if to confirm that this was just a pattern at this point and not a coincidence, he even went back to the Lucid Dreaming channel, posted one new video. Fans who still had the channel in their subscriptions saw the notification and got genuinely excited. For a brief moment, it felt like he might actually return to his roots and give that original community the closure they had been waiting years for. And then nothing. No follow-up, no second video, no explanation. Just another disappearance. Another abandoned project added to the list. The pattern at this point was impossible to ignore. Abandon, rebrand, try again, quit. Every single time something stopped working or started requiring real evolution and effort, Braden walked away from it rather than push through. The Reddit communities that had once celebrated his success filled up with criticism. Some people called him lazy. Others said he only ever got lucky and that the algorithm did all the work for him. A few went further and said he never had real talent to begin with, that the Discord format was already proven by Daylight Gaming and he just replicated it with better production value and happened to catch the algorithm at the right moment. The Beluga channel today sits as a monument to what happens when a creator builds everything on one repeatable joke and never develops anything beyond it. No growth, no depth, no real connection with the audience beyond the novelty of the format, just a trend. And as Braden himself should know better than most people on this platform, all trends die eventually. If you made it this far, drop a comment down below telling me which creator you want me to cover next. And if you enjoyed this video, hitting the like button takes literally 2 seconds and it helps more than you think. I will see you in the next one. Peace.